Hello, Rowan Mithril here once again, getting back to Megaman Battle Network 3. So before we start the next day, let's go get some free stuff from Higsby's. Yeah, I think it's time to cash in the number trader codes. I mean, we've demonstrated how it works and everything, and where you can actually find codes. So let's just go ahead and do this. Besides, some of these codes give you really important things that you can only get here. 11002540. This, for instance, gives us Spin Blue. There are actually 4 NaviCust spin parts that you can only get here. The next one is 282742883. This gives us Spin Green. 725633938 gives us Spin Red. And the last one, 779555025. This gives us Spin White. Now there is one more key item that you can get from the number trader, Mr. Famous's wristband, but all that seems to do, I think, is affect the power level of Punk, a chip you can't normally get. So I'm not going to bother with that one for now. Now the rest of the number trader codes do give you useful things like some free sub-chips, some NaviCust parts, some useful battle chips, a good way of increasing your library a bit. But I realize that putting in number codes and just talking about the numbers and constantly saying them, not exactly the most engaging of viewing and or listening material. So I'll talk about some other things while I cash these in. The main thing I've been doing recently is playing Alice Madness Returns on the 360. Very fun game, that. Sure, it has its flaws like any game, but still a very fun game overall. I quite enjoyed it. Right now I'm working on getting all of the achievements in the game. Last thing I need to do is get through the last couple of chapters on Nightmare difficulty, which is indeed fairly tricky, but I'm almost there. But it's a very atmospheric game, pretty well done. Multitasking while typing in numbers is not the easiest thing, I will say that much. Keeping track of which code I'm on and such. Yeah, I've got a notepad thing open to the side here with all the codes on there. And no real way without constantly pausing and restarting the game here to mark off which ones I've done yet. So, some other things. Some people recently have been asking if I would consider doing like a Q&A type video. The thing is, I would actually consider that, but I'm not quite sure of a good way to do it. Like, what questions to answer, how many I should answer, things like that. That's the kind of issue with those kinds of videos, is figuring out how to do them, what all I would want to accomplish with them, things like that. But it is a possibility. Some other things that I've been considering lately, talking about older games with some of my friends. A game came up that I quite enjoyed that I'm wondering if I could really make a viable LP of it. That being Lemmings. That is a rather tricky but kind of fun game. I liked it. Played it a long time ago. And I'm wondering if I could actually do something viable with that. I'd be interested in hearing, like, viewer response to that. Would people be interested in seeing me play that game? I kind of miss games like that that really made you think about things. True puzzle games. Lemmings was kind of an action puzzle game in a way. You really had to think on the fly, you know? Oh, Loke Enemy, that's a good one. Those are pretty expensive, I think. But yeah, I think with puzzle games, really the last game that I've played in recent memory that you really had to think about things and figure stuff out would be the Portal games. I fairly recently went through Portal 2, very fun game, I got it for Christmas. I really hope they do more with the series, though I'm not really sure where it could go from here, given the plot details of Portal 2. I won't say anything here in case of spoilers for those who haven't played it, but yeah, considering how things go, I'm not really sure where they can go with the story from here, but I hope they figure something out, because those were very pleasant games. I enjoyed them. I love things like that where you really have to sit and figure something out. Too many games these days that get the blanket label of puzzle game is just basically dropping stuff in a well, like Tetris or what have you. And it's not really something that you have to figure anything out. So that's something else I wouldn't mind some viewer feedback on, is if you know any games like the type I'm talking about, where it's more of a logic kind of puzzle thing, where you have to sit, figure something out. I always enjoy that feeling of figuring out a tough puzzle. And there just aren't too many games these days that really give me that feeling, and so I'm wondering if anybody knows any good puzzle games that I maybe haven't played. Probably my favorite of all time was Seventh Guest and the sequel, The 11th Hour. I miss having those on my system. Yeah, someone recently in comments had mentioned the weirdness of a program not working with a more advanced system, but, you know, we see that all the time with older programs that, for instance, required DOS to be able to run, and so newer versions of Windows don't have that, and suddenly you can't run those programs in games anymore. So yeah, I greatly miss those games. I actually tried installing them on this system, and nothing doing. Almost done with these. Yeah, always playing through Battle Network 3, this always tended to be the most tedious part, is cashing in all the codes. But you get such good things for it. I think only 3 codes left to go. But yeah, also another thing I'm really looking forward to is Alan Wake American Nightmare. Oh man, ever since playing the original Alan Wake, gods, I fell in love with that game. It was just so well done. So atmospheric, very, very nice, and I'm just so glad that they're doing something else with the series. I already have my points set aside for that when that comes out. Take my money, please. Okay, and thus we've pretty much bled the number trader dry. Only thing left we can really get from there, like I said, is Mr. Famous's wristband, and no particular need for that. So, one other thing I am going to go ahead and cover here. And that is program compression. This is something that they're pretty sneaky about in the game. I don't think they actually go to the bother of telling you about this. I don't think they actually give you any compression codes anywhere, but what this does is it takes one tile away from the program, making it easier to fit more programs into your memory map. Now, the thing to keep in mind is you can only do this with the solid programs, things like Set Sand, Shadow Shoe, Sneak Run, things like that. But even then you can't do it with all of them. Essentially, plot programs, such as Press here, cannot be compressed. In order to do a compression, you have to select the program you want to compress over here on this menu. Don't actually take it out or put it in the memory map. Hold down Select and then put in the proper button combination, and the program will lose one tile, but none of the effectiveness. So then, first off, let's compress Set Sand. Hold down Select and then put in L, A, B, up, L. And by the L's I actually meant left. I get confused since there's an L button and left directionally. So actually that was left A, B, up, left. But as you can see, one tile vanished from this program. This is a very useful thing. Okay, shadow shoes. Up, left, right, L, up, R. Sneak run. R, L, B, down, down, down. Air shoes. Up, B, B, down, A, R. As you can see, with the size of some of these programs, it's very useful to compress them. Undershot. Or undershirt if you prefer. Left up, B, L, left up. Fast gauge. B, down, A, R, left, R. And I think that's a textured one, yep. So, that's all we can compress for now. I'll be doing this with any programs that I get in the future that can be compressed. So with that, we don't really need to make any changes to the program right now. And we've done a whole lot of coding. As, enthralling as I'm sure this segment was, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and refresh and pause just so I don't have to do that again.